Good evening, Hari. How are you doing?
I've got caller. Hey, good, Pankaj. I
Good.
think it's been a while since we met and we spoke, and it's really refreshing in between all this work from home and several calls to at least chat up with somebody with coffee in one hand. I've been missing this. I promise. I swear I haven't done this for a while. Yeah. My hair is a South Indian tumbler of filter coffee.
Cheers.
Coffee with Pankaj. Yeah. Cheers.
So we've been doing this for a while now, chatting up with friends. I think the common element in all the people who've come on Talkies, COVID Diaries have been friends. And we go back 2007, the India Today days.
Oh yeah, I remember you were my client, and I forgive you for that.
The worst thing, right? Yeah, so we were on different sides of the table. I think that was a fantastic experience working the campaigns for India Today. And I remember the expressions where you and I guess Pat came out with some campaign with all the inverted commas and exclamation marks, and we went to think we'll stick to making sense of India.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Man, I'm surprised you remember the lines and everything. You must have really been in love with that campaign, right? So
I think it was a fantastic campaign. To be fair, it was beautiful the way it was done. A lot of time was spent on that. So let's get on with what we started.
Sure.
We're gonna chat on a couple of things, Hari. We're gonna chat on basically what we've been doing with the rest of my friends. Basically, the impact of Corona on business, specifically to the media and entertainment sector, right? So how do we see? I'll just quickly tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about COVID-19 and the impact on media buying. Most of my clients right now in the television sector are worried about how the advertising spends will pan out. Ad spends, if you have any data you want to walk us through on ad spends by categories and industries earlier, now and the future. The key steps that we should be taking forward as an industry, any smart cost-cutting measures, and obviously we don't subscribe to layoffs. Salary cuts could be still smart, but layoffs is something that's against my karma. So we'll chat on that, and a lot of innovative stuff is coming out on automation, on creative. So the impact on that on your business. So let's start off. Impact of COVID-19. How is it impacting TBWA? Is it impacting your business? Not yours, as in general.
I think it's the same for the world. I guess some companies are better prepared, or at least they were better provided for than others. I don't think anyone was prepared, but I guess some companies have greater challenges than others, and there are many companies who are facing a whole lot of existential questions at this point of time. And if you look at it, agency business historically has been a derivative of clients' businesses, and so long as their businesses are healthy, your businesses are healthy. And what we are currently not looking at a very short-term view of whether we can have revenues from our clients or not. We've actually been forced to look ahead, 2 steps ahead, and see the clients we have, the businesses we handle, how are they going to do in the next 6 to 8 months, because that's really going to be the source of our true business and the key to our healthy functioning in the future. So if you look at it, since our business is largely a derivative and business to business, it's a B2B business. We first need to understand what is happening to the B2C businesses, because we handle B2C businesses. And if the consumer ain't spending, then the clients are not spending, and then as a result, our business gets affected. So some of the questions that at TBWA, at OMD, and most of our group companies, we've been constantly kind of facing, and we perhaps don't have any answers to them, but we have some data which kind of tells us what's going on right now and what's going to happen. So with our media partners and media agencies, they're largely data driven. With our
you have some data, you want to talk data, you want to share
yeah,
something?
yeah.
You want to just talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the things that I've been actually looking at very keenly is that stockpiling. People, what some of the researchers, especially in the last 16 weeks, we are talking about, and we are basically talking about mid-April, that is week 16 of the lockdown, and we are talking about a purchase behavior that is largely showing at stockpiling a lot of essentials. And I think some researchers are pointing out that 40% of Indians are actually stockpiling essentials. 60% Indians have actually reduced spends on personal grooming products. Clearly, I think it's look at your hair, and that's a testament to where grooming is not being taken seriously. But yeah, I think it's a pretty big one, because that market, an everyday essential of grooming is being kind of is taking a back step. I think more than 50% of people in the car market and consumer durable market have actually postponed their purchases, which means that if someone was planning to buy a car in the next 6 months, he's not going to buy it. If someone was planning to buy mobile phones, he's not, or an expensive mobile phone, he's not going to buy it. So that postponement has happened over the next 6 months. And much as we'd like to believe that we are not going to restaurants, or that we are sitting at home and bored of home food, it doesn't quite indicate any increase in online food ordering, because almost the food ordering online has reduced by almost 52%. So these are
food ordering online has come down by 52%, because, and I guess that's
during this
the fact that there is fear, right?
There is fear. There is a lot of safety concern. Of course, there is also the bottlenecks that people face around keeping the kitchens open or restaurants open. But yeah, besides those bottlenecks, there was news around pizza delivery men passing on the virus and all of that. But yeah, generally people are keeping to the side of caution and saying, why invite trouble? So therefore, food ordering also has come down to a large extent. Now that has another impact. Now that reduces the opportunity for a Swiggy boy or a Zomato boy, and look at that. Now that's a large chunk of people. So clearly, money stopped transacting, human activities reduced, commercial activities reduced, and that in turn is affecting the business projections of.
Give more numbers. I'm more keen on numbers. If you've got any numbers. So 50% online. That's a very interesting fact, because I was under the assumption online delivery is on, because every time you exit, you go on a road, you see this Zomato and Swiggy guys all over the road. But I was not aware of 52%.
We are also talking about reduction from the pre-COVID point to now. So naturally, you will still see those people on road. But yeah, I think that
because we only see them, we don't see so many other cars. So that's why they tend to stand out.
That's right. They are noticeable, and also the sheer volume has gone down. So, and also, like typically the restrictions of entering society complexes, residential areas, and all of that is quite is quite stringent now, and that also deters a lot of people from ordering, because it's simply not convenient. Yeah. So I guess that's a revelation. And yes, I'm sure a lot of things are getting affected there. So that is the starting point of it all, where I said.
Yeah. So while you continue, so I'll just keep interrupting. I'm not.
Go ahead.
Memory is so I keep forgetting, so I'll keep throwing the questions as we move along. Tell me, in the last 2 months, have you made any pitch for creative online?
Yes, we have. We have made a couple of pitches, and that's surprising.
Let's not speak to TBWA. Let's look at creative overall as an industry. So creative is pitching online right now, but creative is amongst the first that goes out of the window, right? Because it's not one of the most must-have things to do.
You're right. It's also, so let's look at it two ways. One is much of the media plans of people have been affected. If you really look at all of April and all of May, a lot of clients and I'm not talking specifically to the clients we have at TBWA, across the board, if you look at general advertising activity, that has reduced. So if you look at, plans getting affected, for instance, now this year, for the first time in 13 years, there was no IPL. And IPL usually was the beginning of the year, a platform that gave people a whole lot of opportunities to, create new copies for television. And therefore that entire thing, I'm sure a lot of people who had already produced and kept it ready could not deploy it. And a whole lot of other activity got stopped as well. So your biggest platform or your biggest stage to show your brand in new light, or to tell a new story of a brand to a large audience, that itself was kind of taken away. So that opportunity went away. And therefore all of April and all of May being evaporated in thin air has obviously not helped us, has not shown us any new copy done by any brand. Now, in equal vein, there are lots of brands which would have been preparing for plans that would get deployed post IPL or whatever. Their entire production schedule has gotten stopped because of the restrictions of I remember still as back as March, when we were producing something for a client of ours internationally, and all the shoots were over. The studios in Mumbai shut for safety measures, and therefore the activity on that stopped. And then of course you see a lot of very famous filmmakers now coming and saying, hey, you know what? Don't worry, we'll shoot from home and we will we'll assemble a film and you see a lot of good work happening which are shot in home. But of course that's now you've seen them all. But what I'm trying to say is that this whole scenario has affected the curfew, the ability to go out and produce, the ability to create creative copies. All of that has kind of affected what you see on television. So you see a lot of copies that have already run. You see, because digital advertising has increased during this time, you see a lot of stuff on display and stuff that can be churned out because most agencies are working from home. So we have our creative people working from home. Whatever we can generate in-house, those become the creative assets. So that's what it right now has, from a creative output standpoint, that's what has been happening.
Yeah. Hari, if you were to put a number, so let's say pre-COVID, the entire business in terms of engagement or value, either of the two, engagement or value for creative, everything put together was at 100 units. Where do you think it is now, down from 100, in terms of engagement or value? And where do you see it when do you see it coming back to 100?
Look, if you're talking value, let me give you an example that could probably be treated as a representative for the whole industry. If you really look at it, audiences are watching a lot more TV. Audiences are watching a lot more digital platforms or interacting with digital platforms. I think newspapers have come down. So really, what clients and businesses have discovered, that the eyeballs are there. The eyeballs are there, but all of those eyeballs are actually just building the top of the funnel. None of them are actually building the bottom of the funnel. By what I mean by that is that you have millions of people sitting at home, either on Facebook, and we are talking about people, more than 55% of Indians are spending more time on Facebook. And almost 70% of people are claiming to have watching more TV. So advertisers don't want to lose the opportunity to be salient among them. However, what advertisers aren't able to do is convert those eyeballs or convert that salience into the next step of the funnel. To give you an example, I can run a car ad right now, but first of all, the person, anybody who's watching it will only remember the brand. He'll not be able to pick up the phone and book a test drive, right?
Yeah.
So, or if you show them an ad of say real estate, of jewelry, he can just simply remember that. And what you will be just doing is building the top end of the funnel, which is familiarity and maybe opinion. What you're not going to build, and you have completely missed an entire quarter of building a bottom of the funnel. So to that extent, to answer your question of value, whatever we are doing in advertising, whatever creatives that we put out or advertising that we put out is only adding to recall and is perhaps only adding to imagery. That's it. It's not adding any more value to business transactions for certain categories. For certain categories, except
service.
Of course, essentials. If you're talking about essentials and services, and anything that people can buy online, anything that people can get delivered home, all of that, of course, is coming. Of course, that's hugely
reduced. I think airlines should be back in action now, right?
Since the domestic. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I think we saw it in the papers yesterday that, and I've also seen some pictures on social media where now it's. I even read a joke yesterday saying, people who are breaking lines and walking 30 minutes before the flight, they have no choice because you have to land up. There is no way you can, cross lines or bypass anything because it's got to be you've got to spend that 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's the value.
On air travel as well.
Yeah. But who wants to travel? Like, look at it. A lot, I think people have also experienced now. See, I think one of the positive spins that I give to this whole thing is that all the stress that you do in transit, going to airport, this entire airport transfer thing, for attending that one meeting in Bombay or that one meeting in Delhi. Today with technology, you can do several meetings. And I think this whole thing about expensive video conferencing rooms, we've just sampled one of the best or one of the biggest travel killers in the last 2 months, and business travel killers. And I'm talking about Zoom, I'm talking about WebEx, and I'm talking about MS Teams.
Yeah.
I think even post-COVID and even 6 months down the line, even if airline traffic increases, a lot of people are going to make the choice to finish something off if it can be done over a WebEx or over an MS Teams. And I think that's a good sampling that has happened in the last couple of months.
Yeah, I think that fairly sums it up broadly on how things are. But I think as sectors gradually open up, you will see advertising coming back to action. Coming to the second part of my question, so when do you see the 100 going back to 100? By what month? About a year?
That's being very optimistic.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there is a huge pipeline. So if I were to just give you, and we could talk about various categories, but if I were to just give you the example of automobiles, for instance, today you have because not a single person has been able to walk into an automobile dealership. Not a single car has been sold across brands over the last 2 months. And if you really look at the what has been stockpiled in the car industry, I was told that close to about 250,000 cars are now lying just with dealers, waiting to be sold, waiting to be delivered, and whatnot. So and also India, the Indian government had earlier had this whole regulation on the BS6 and the BS5 engine. Which was about lower emissions. Now that had a deadline of 1st of April, but now that has been extended. So if you really look at it, there's a whole lot of stuff that has been piled up over the last 2 to 3 months. And I'm now talking about a category where there was already a slowdown. And by the time you manage to sell that off and put fresh stock in, you're talking about at least 3 quarters more. So really, I think if my guess is that if 100 goes, if what we stand, and even if we go back to 50 in the next 1 year, or maybe 60 in the next 1 year, we should consider ourselves really fortunate.
I think that's real tough times ahead, Hari.
Yes, indeed. I think we all need to recalibrate ourselves to what's coming, and really that's going to be, to put a cliche, that's going to be really the new reality.
So that has a huge cascading effect because the entire media and entertainment industry, at least television, which is hugely dependent on advertising. So we are saying they're going to take a hit for about a year now.
See, I don't think anyone, television is definitely something that really, boggles my mind because I just want to share some figures with you, right? While you and I might think that, clients, that consumers are not buying and therefore clients are not spending. The truth is clients are spending, and if you ask any TV channel for inventory, there is a limitation of inventory. And I really want to kind of share some figures with you. Can I share this?
Add in on the limitations. So as far as I know, a lot of news channels are doing a 1+3 right now. So for every one ad, you get 3 free.
Yeah, so really that is the inventory limitation. But I just want to share something with you which has come in from Bark and Nielsen, and it kind of it's not showing such high drops, Pankaj, because I look at it. Let me share my screen. So if you really look at this, and this was kind of a revelation for me, and this I'm quoting the latest Nielsen track that has come from Bark, and it's pretty much in public domain, so I can show this to you. So if you really look at it, between week 14 and week 13 and week 16, look at this drop. It's fairly it's been a big drop, but then it's kind of maintaining and it's going back up. And if you look at it by genre, most of the genres seem to be stable, because there are more people watching TV right now, and there is more being delivered in terms of eyeballs. Sorry, so most brands have this.
Sorry, what are the y-axis? FCT in lakhs. Okay.
Yeah, in lakhs.
So you're saying they're pretty much constant.
Yeah, look at this. I think the data tells me that it's.
I'll tell you the catch here, Hari. Sorry, I'll differ with you. The catch here is that the effective rates have gone really down. We are working with all these broadcasters. So the fact that is giving 1+3, the rate of the ad is the same, and you're getting 4 against 1, which means there's a slash of almost 75%, which does not get captured in the data.
Interesting. I'm glad we spoke about this, because it was kind of giving me a completely different picture.
The overall inventory, you're right, is the same.
And if you look at it, of course, people are watching a lot more news, so there is an overall news genre growth between now and pre-COVID period. And that's simply because people are just watching how far the virus has reached from, how close they are.
That's right.
Yeah, so I guess these are the interesting observations at this point of time, simply because brands, whether they are available or not, need to be salient. The race is very much there. Who remembers what? Because once things get back to normal, several clients are going to come back and say, "Hey, I hope we haven't lost familiarity. We haven't. I'm stopping the share now." And of course, everyone's concern will be, yes, businesses will get back to normal at some point, but will we be able to? How much of investment will we have to do if we completely lose the mind share of consumers? And that heavy lifting cannot be done later. So they can use all these SOPs right now that are being given to them by simply putting up their visibility out there on a 1+3 package or whatever, like what you were saying. But thanks for telling me that, Pankaj. I would never have known.
Yeah, no, but this data was pretty insightful. Yeah, thanks for that, Hari. I think that pretty much tells us all. Now, one more worry that's coming out on technology. So technology, in some sense, replacing human beings all across. Now, there are a lot of these beautiful apps that I've seen, which people are using, and they can just, at the press of a button, create something beautiful. Is that a major threat? And do you see 10-15 years down the line, creative as a business being hugely challenged? Because everything can happen online. You just create your own creative way.
Yeah, so there are some parts. So, for instance, there is a lot of automation happening in the lower end of the value chain, because if you really look at it, when you talked about certain apps like Canva or anything that make a film, it's so easy to make a film these days. Put it together. You can actually edit a film on a mobile phone and all of that. Yes, there are two things it's doing. To large clients and their small requirements, their social media requirements, it's kind of helping them do it in-house. It's helping them save a lot of money and effort. But yes, there will always be. One can never substitute the power of an idea. You need people to ideate. You still need a human to think, to actually apply a human insight into creativity. I know, one of the biggest revelations to me has been, and to use an anecdote here, I was telling someone the other day that, boss, Prasoon Pandey, one of the A-grade filmmakers, is now telling you that he's made a film in home with Amitabh Bachchan at home, Ranbir Kapoor at home.
I saw that.
And I've seen so many other film producers who are on my Facebook timeline who say, hey, you know what, we can make films in home, And my biggest question to them, man, is how the hell are we now going to convince clients to give us crores of rupees to go to New Zealand and make a film?
Yeah.
Because now how do I write a script that begins?
I'll give you a solution to that. So in Zoom, you and I both have actually genuine backgrounds, but you've got this option to create a virtual background. So that's how you're going to do it.
And look at model cost. In Zoom, apparently, you can also do a deep fake AI. Now, right now I'm sitting or you're sitting, you can actually have George Clooney on your face talking to me. Actually, you don't need it because you look like George Clooney.
That's bad. Yeah, I won't subscribe to that kind of stuff. The Canva kind of stuff where you can actually, you have templates of music, templates of videos, templates of graphics, which you can, mix and match with thousands of combinations. That still might be on to loosely put it on the ethical side, but these morphing of images and all
I shouldn't be talking about it because someone's picked my image off the net and using it in an ad without paying me. But yeah, you're right, there are ethical issues. But what you're talking about automating creators, yes, it is happening, but it's happening in the lower end of the spectrum. There is still a need for a whole lot of work to change opinions. So I don't know if you know about this whole construct on YouTube called Hero, Hub, and Hygiene. You must go look that up. And they talk about any business that has three kinds of content requirements. One is the basic hygiene thing, which is they must have on their website, they must have on their social, where they say, and those are creators that you need to churn out every day. Now, for those kind of things, automation works a lot better because it's faster, it's cheaper. Then there is hub content where you need to make sure that your consumer is kind of engaging with your category and he needs more information, what kind of things you kind of populate on your site and various other places. Again, there automation plays a bit of role, but you need a lot more humans to come in there and intervene and add a lot of value. And then, of course, brands will continue to create hero content, which are those flashy, shiny 30-seconders where we can get to go abroad and shoot and all of that, which will really keep the talk about a large position that a brand takes or a stance that a brand takes, which needs to have that sheen. So it will continue. To answer your question, yes, a lot of work is already being done by client using things that make things easier. But yes, the role for humans will continue. Yeah, how much you pay for that role is questionable. How many people you can pay, keep your team off is questionable. Whether your creative director can buy a luxury car every year or not is questionable. But
so yes. I'll share some data with you as well. So thank you for bringing so much data, but I'll also share something that's important that might interest you. The media and entertainment sector is obviously hugely dependent on the advertising side, but then there is a subscription side as well. So in television, India alone does about 12,000 crores on TV, which is largely safe, because this has not taken a hit at all.
It has taken a hit.
About 1,200 crores, which remains safe. Globally, subscription revenues on television stand about $255 billion, which is again mostly safe. And OTT is seen an upswing, up from $68 billion. The numbers are actually going up, right? So that's trying to share some positive thing on the media and entertainment sector. Advertising obviously has taken a little bit of hit. What is more mind-boggling is the time spent. So I'll just pull some numbers that I have. We are spending huge amounts of time on media. So if you look at the data right now, internet alone, we do almost 281 minutes in a day, and I'm looking at the global numbers, out of which 50 minutes come from a laptop or a desktop, and about 230 minutes come from mobile phones. Television has a whopping 250 minutes. That's more than 4 hours in a day. Radio is at 100 minutes. Magazines at 12 minutes, and news, out of that, which is newspapers, comes at about 9.5 minutes, which basically means we are consuming almost, or in fact more than 10 hours of media every single day. And that's how big the numbers are.
Yes.
So I thought I'd add some positive.
Yeah, and it's good that you are adding this, because in any case we are all locked down. What else do we do? And that is the
I don't know about the crime rate. If the crime rate will shoot up suddenly, right? You'll get to know that after the lockdown.
Yeah, man.
In-house
I
crime.
hope it doesn't. In-house crimes, yeah. After watching all the Patal Loks of the world, people getting inspired and creating a little mini Eastern UP in their homes.
I think that's fantastic. So, I don't know, I just got the first thing, but I've heard good reviews about Patal Lok. But anyway, I shouldn't comment on that because we are also part of the OTT measurement thing. So I don't have a say. So let the research come out on how well that show is fared. I want to wrap up with something that's close to my heart, and I hope it's close to yours as well. We met on a treadmill about, I think, 3-4 years ago at the ITC Grand Central, right? Are you still running?
Yeah, I'm still running. I run about 3 to 4K a day. And that's what keeps me going. And thanks to the place where we live, even during lockdown, we were allowed to run inside with certain measures and certain protocols. In fact, I just can't do without that heartbeat, because even when we were in containment, our building was in containment for a week because we had a COVID case on the 7th floor. Now they're all fine. They're absolutely recovered. But in those days, I couldn't even get out of my building. So I used to run between some 14 or 16 floors 5 times, going up and coming down the elevator. Because that's how I got my cardio. Bad for the heel, because you directly land on your sole, but the SOLE. But yeah, that it kind of kept me going. Yes, I'm running, and I'm very happy to see you fit, man. And
up on the stairs, you're saying you would land on the heel or the toes?
On the toes and the front part of the sole.
Yes, to avoid
Yeah, but no, I couldn't, because I have my foot size is 11, so the whole stair won't take it. But you know what, you've been into fitness, and what I really like about you is that of course you kind of, whenever you're in Bombay, you are where all the celebs are working out, so all your selfies and your interviews with celebs, that's very interesting.
I've titled that as a display of desperation.
Hey, you're a celeb yourself, Pankaj, come on. So that's
good. Yeah, so that's the key. So what else? So health, huh? So that's the thing. So
stay alive. Stay alive in 2020. Stay alive for yourself, for your family. No point stressing out anything. Things are going to go. See, let me not say up or down, but जैसे हम लोग कहते थे ना बचपन में, this is a question paper which was completely out of syllabus. So we are all looking at this question paper right now and say, shit, we didn't study for it. This is COVID 2020 first quarter, and the rest of 2020 is a completely out of syllabus situation for us. We've seen nothing like it. But to be frank, to be fair, this is also perhaps the only generation in humanity that has stayed indoors with family, near and dear ones, for over 2.5-3 months.
And
tell me,
come back alive.
Yes, and tell me which generation has got this luxury. So let's, I think, be thankful for what we have. We see a lot of shit around. We know that everyone's not as fortunate. But yeah, I think we have no choice but to go back out there and start rebuilding our own lives. And of course, when we start rebuilding our own lives, we build everyone else's lives. So yes, so let's stay optimistic.
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic way to put it. Yeah, I think it's been a long time that we spent 3 months at home as a generation. In fact, I did a lot of wonderful stuff. I got to learn to do a lot of things. I got into forceful I spend a lot of time in my garden. So and I like to keep it clean. And there was no option but to clean it myself, which basically made me squat. To clean the entire garden with a broom. And I think that was such a
amazing.
It was a beautiful blessing in disguise.
That opens up on hips. Actually, that's a very good exercise. It opens up your hips.
Yeah. So I had those posts on Instagram. Then Shilpa Shetty had them after 5 days. So I'm wondering whether she copied me.
You inspired her.
She had the same broom and she had exactly the same angle, but she was obviously, her video was 5 seconds. Mine went off for a longer time. So it looks apart. So I think there is a good in every bad, and I think there's a lot of good things that we've learned over the period of this lockdown, Hari.
Yeah, man.
Health and happiness go hand in hand, and I think it all depends on being healthy every single day. and that's where
absolutely. I think there's no greater reward than that. The very fact that you're breathing fresh air, you should be thankful. And yes, Pankaj, absolutely with you on that thought.
Beautiful. You get to see the stars. I have gotten up in the morning and I've seen this 4:30 a.m. You've seen all the three planets, Jupiter, 3, 4, and 5, right? So Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus in a sequence. So I've got this Sky View app where you can identify the.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. That app is really good. So you actually point it and then you get the names and the constellations.
The camera on. You get up at 4 in the morning, 4:30. You see these bright blue skies with the stars, and you can see those planets right with your naked eye. I think that's a fantastic.
Amazing.
I've never had to see that before, right? So I've got screen grabs of that, Hari. I'm going to send them to you.
Please.
Pictures, right? So
Sure.
So every bad has a good to it. Let's make the most of it. Hari, gonna wrap this up. I think you said it very brilliantly. It's like an exam paper. You really don't know what's coming up next. Not for us, not for India or for globally, but make the most out of it. That's what Sadhguru has well said. Yeah, the best you can do is build your immunity, right? And that's most important.
Yes.
Media and entertainment, advertising obviously takes a hit, but then subscription continues as is. In certain sectors it grows, and let's hope things come back to normal, both from the economic front and definitely more
and the life front. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a pleasure chatting. Sorry, Hari.
My pleasure, Pankaj. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
I never missed your show, and I'm glad you called me. I'm glad we had this little chat. Let's continue talking. Let's continue sharing, and let's meet with our masks on once this lockdown is lifted.
Absolutely. Good meeting. Thank you so much. I'm going to decide.
Thanks. Thank you, Pankaj. Bye.